Hello, welcome to another Gundam version 2 video. That is the new suit, the FF Sazabi, which actually the full name is MSN-04FF Sazabi, but I'm going to be calling it the FF Sazabi for short, or even the support Sazabi, because this is actually our third 4-star native 700 support, and yeah, our third 4-star support overall. It's been a while, and I feel like we kind of deserve to have another one at this point. And yeah, it's actually pretty damn good. In fact, it's so good, a lot of people are saying that's actually overpowered. Now, is it? We'll have to get there when we get there. Now, to help us out with this video here, I do have two matches here for you. This first one's going to be on military base on raiding matches, or in raiding. And the second match is going to be in quick match on my favorite side, on my favorite map, Impact Site B side. Thankfully, it's not as painful as it usually is. And yeah, let's get to the stats. As I mentioned, this is a 4-star support at 700. You have 24,000 health with 26 ballistic resistance, 32 beam and melee resistance. You have 40 range strength, 30 melee strength, 125 movement speed with 210 boost speed. You have 75 thruster gauge and 69 turning speed. Nice. And 4 slots, you have 13 close, 19 mid, and 20 long range slots. Now, the first thing that jumps out to me here is that you do have 32 beam and 32 melee resistance. One of the builds I actually did is that you could actually make the suit really tanky by giving yourself high melee and beam resistance. And yeah, it works pretty well. I believe this to be the second suit you can do that with, where the Kshatriya, you can't really build super high melee defense. The Dagdoll you can, but this suit, yeah, this suit really benefits in terms of being a tank with those kind of builds, right, or that kind of build. Another build I actually did with this is that you can actually do cooldown parts with this, you know, like overheat parts. Those work really well, especially given how this suit's weapons are and these kind of skills you have, which we'll get there when we get there. Now, yeah, you can definitely do plenty of different builds with this, which is quite nice to have for a suit. You know, a little bit versatile in what you can do, what you can build for it. But yeah, now we're on to the primary weapons. Starting off, you have the 04FF Beam Shot Rifle, which is 250 damage with 40% heat rate and 250 range. And of course, you can charge this. It's basically just, it's very similar to the Sazabi's Beam Shot Rifle. However, I believe the Sazabi's Beam Shot Rifle, the regular Sazabi's, can stun potentially stun in one hit. This suit, you cannot stun in one hit. You have to fire 2 shots to at least get a stun. Two meat shots, right? It is a very narrow shot. You know, beam rifle shot or beam shotgun shot, I should say. I should say. Yeah, sure. I'm getting a little bit of some shuz in there, right? Just be aware of that, and of course, since you're at a cost where damage control is quite common, and you know, you are technically using a shotgun, you know, a little bit of a short range there, 250, it's not going to be very consistent half the time. Now, you can charge this up to get a instant stun that does do some pretty good damage, so oftentimes I'll use that to initiate, right? And of course, you can use this to initiate into stun lock combos, which is actually pretty nice, right? But yeah, one of the weapons you can combo into here is your next primary weapon here, which is actually your primary melee weapon, and that is the 04FF Beam Saber, which is 2,700 damage. And yeah, it's a beam saber. The downswing, I believe, is oh man, I can't remember exactly the suit that it takes the moveset from, but unfortunately, it is not the beam tomahawk like what is shown. You know, on the banner. It shows the tomahawk, but no, you just have a regular old beam saber, which is unfortunate, but it still does the job, right? You can get some pretty good damage out of it, right? But yeah, that to help along, you know, to combo into that beam saber, we're gonna go ahead and go to the secondary weapons here, and for starting off, you have the scattering mega particle cannon, which is 1,600 damage with 95% heat rate and 200 range. And yeah, this is again another weapon similar to the regular Sazabi, where that has the same weapon on it. Well, actually, no, it actually has more stun accumulation, I believe, on the regular Sazabi. This suit has a little bit less, but it still takes you know, it takes 2 hits to get a stun, and it does do a truckload of damage when it does hit. I know it says 1,600 damage per shot. I'm not sure how many shots you're actually shooting, But yeah, I've gotten over 3K on generals, and yeah, it definitely hurts. Again, if you're shooting you're shooting 2 shots of this, yeah, that can be 6,000 damage immediately. And then if you combo, like I said before, if you're comboing into your melee, yeah, that's definitely gonna hurt. That's already a really good combo right there. So, and now we're on to the second secondary weapon. That is the DH Funnels Cannon, which is 1,400 damage with 85% heat rate and 550 range. And these are they're pretty much just the same thing that's on a lot of other suits that have beam shoulder cannons. They're not really using the funnels as funnels. They're just on your back, and you can use that to fire like as shoulder cannons. They are instant stuns, so if you hit somebody, yeah, you'll get damage, you'll get a stun. And of course, this can allow for a really quick stun accumulation if you're using your fully charged beam shot rifle first. You can use that to get a free a 4K damage or 3K damage. Follow up with the cannon to get another 1,000, 2,000, somewhere in there, maybe even 3,000, depending on how weak the person you're fighting is, right? For beam defense, you can use that to get another stun accumulation. Maybe even throw in your mega particle cannon for another stun, right? Potential stun. Go into your melee, all that good stuff for combos. So yeah, pretty nice weapon here for another stun, right? And that's going to be your first instant stun, since technically the beam shot rifle, you had to charge up an instant stun. It's not instant on its own, and the mega particle cannon being a stun accumulation as well. Next funnel weapon here is the pincer, the DH Funnels Pincer, which is 850 damage with a 50% heat rate and 350 range. And yeah, these work just like all the other pincer funnels, but except instead of having like 3 or 4 more funnels surrounding somebody firing at them at a time, it just shoots your big 2 lobster claws at them and just throws up damage at them. It's just kind of funny. Like, it also feels faster than other funnels when they it feels like some funnels have to like go around the enemy that you're locked onto and then start firing. This suit just feels like as soon as it's right within the range of the enemy, it just starts firing, and it fires for a total of 3 times. And again, it does do some chunky damage, each shot being 850 just base damage. That can help build up a lot of damage. I believe you'll see this more so in the second match, where people will be standing still way too often, and they'll be taking chunks out of them, or I'll be taking chunks out of them, right? And yeah, it just works like regular funnels. The stun accumulation does feel pretty low on this, and honestly, every other weapon here that has stun accumulation, like the cannon, if you're hitting somebody with nuke armor and all that good stuff, it feels really low compared to the scattering mega particle cannon, which that one feels really good to use. But everything else just feels kind of low. And before we go on to the next weapon here, that's going to be in the first match here, timeout, and good works all around, and we'll see how we did in our rating match here. Mission completed. Good works all around. And hey, top individual, top assist, and top damage. 182,000 damage, and a pretty good top assist score and top individual. And let's see what placement we got here. Second place, yeah, 5 and 2. And hey, we got a high score for our assist and damage, which is pretty nice. And yeah, now we're on my favorite map on my favorite side here, so enjoy that. And yeah, your next weapon here is the DH Funnels Pursue, which is 1,200 damage, 95% heat rate, and 250 range. Now, I often call these the follow funnels, because they follow you around. They float next to you, and these have different properties compared to other follow funnels. Where typically the other follow funnels, they won't stun, and they're more so for either stun accumulation or you can use them for damage. This suit, these follow funnels will just straight up just stun people. And the best part about this is that you can use these while boosting. So not only is this your second instant stun option, it is also your second option you can use while boosting. That can make this suit pretty scary in a lot of situations, where if it reads a dodge roll on you, or it goes for a stun, you dodge roll, it can boost towards you to set up another instant stun. And what makes it even worse with this weapon is that it actually has a small blast radius on it. So it doesn't have to aim directly at you. You can just aim near you, get a stun, and then go in for, you know, melee or maybe the mega particle cannon and then the melee. Like, just a lot of situations here for combos, which is pretty gross, pretty freaking gross. But yeah, and also I believe the stun accumulation is again pretty low for this, as you just saw me trying to stop the Stein coming towards me. So actually, I think the Stein might have some kind of skill where it can it takes a little bit longer for me to stun it, but can't be too sure of that right now because I haven't played the Stein in a little bit. But yeah, the Pursue funnels, again, you have a second instant stun and a second weapon you can use while boosting. Really useful. Your final weapon here is the DH Funnels Discharge, which is 1,600 damage per tick, because this is actually a Jirobi weapon, and it has 100% heat rate and 350 range. Oh yeah, I forgot. I should mention, by the way, on the pincers, even though it says 50% heat rate, that does overheat when you do use it. So I forgot to mention that. It's my bad. But yeah, back to the current weapon now, the Discharge. This this funnel does take a little bit to lock on, but once you do, the back funnels that you have, they will combine to form a single funnel, and they will actually flank an enemy the one that you locked onto, and that will it'll take a second to charge up, and then it'll fire a Jirobi beam. And this Jirobi beam, if somebody gets caught within it, will take an insane amount of damage. I believe against a support will be at least over 12k, or at least at 12k, and for a general around 17k, which is pretty insane amount of damage. Now the caveat to this is that I mentioned this thing does have ticks of damage. When you first fire, or when it first fires, it say, not when you fire, when it itself fires, it will get a stun, and then it'll wait a few seconds, get another hit of damage in. I call these ticks, where you get a tick of damage, wait a little bit, tick of damage, wait a little bit, tick of damage, compared to another kind of Jirobi beam, like let's say the Unit 5 BST, where it'll use the big old mega particle cannon, and it'll go bam 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 bam, which is faster than bam bam bam, like how this Jirobi works. And it can be really easy, and I believe I even do it in the first match, where people can just either dodge roll out of it, or they get hit once and they'll boost out of it. Now obviously, if you can get somebody out of their dodge roll or whatnot, yeah, or they wasted a dodge roll, that's gonna be fine. But yeah, if you know you're probably not gonna get too much damage out of it, you can still use it for just general AOE stuff. Something similar to like the Kshatriya, with its straightforward funnels, the AOE funnels, right? So even if you're not gonna get 17k on a general, it's still really good for just setting up the situations to make it awkward for the enemy team to push, or maybe even retreat, depending on how your funnel set itself up. Now, unfortunately, as you saw there, depending on how you lock onto somebody, or when you lock onto somebody, since your funnel will follow the person, if they go behind a building, it will just shoot the building. So make sure when you do use this in more open areas, or maybe you wait until somebody's around the corner and then you release the funnel, so that way, if they're hiding, the funnel will at least go to where they're at, and not if you just fire it immediately before they go around a corner, right? Because then they'll just shoot the building they're behind. So yeah, it can be a decent kind of AOE weapon, and if you do hit somebody, you can potentially just one combo somebody to death, which is really amazing. And now we're on to the skills here. You have radar level 2, scope level 2, data link, aerospace gimbal level 2, so you can tilt up and down further in space. You have damage control, so let's say somebody has a stun accumulation that takes 3 hits to stun you, well now it will take more to stun you. You have shock absorber level 3, balancers and back level 2, force injectors, you have back add-on buffer level 2, leg buffer level 2. You have the SB counter program, so if you have 50% health, you'll get a unique counter, which unfortunately is not a weapon on its own, where you'll take off your funnels and basically use them as laser boxing gloves, to put it lightly. Use them as actual claws and just start beating somebody with them. I would kind of wish it was actually its own weapon in this suit, but oh well. At least it looks cool, right? So, so there's that. You do have Psycho Frame Resonance, so if you're at, I believe, 30% health, you'll gain a increase to your mobility, and I believe your funnels will actually lock on 50% faster. So that actually makes it really useful for you if you're using the discharge funnels, so that way you can get that out as soon as possible. You have to wait. You don't have to wait as long waiting to lock onto somebody, which is an issue I found myself having a little bit of trouble with sometimes. You know, depending on how the enemy team is trying to avoid not getting locked onto. And finally, you have 2 new skills for this for this new 4-star support, and one of them is technically a skill we've seen plenty of times. It's called Resist Move, and for all intents and purposes, this is just a dodge roll. Now the caveat is that you don't have any iframes, so I'm going to be honest. Why not just have a dodge roll at that point? I feel like you could have just done a dodge roll, but sure, have a dodge roll that just makes it to where you have no iframes for whatever reason. I guess they really wanted the Japanese players to feel like what it feels to play as a Western player, so thanks, I guess. Now, this doesn't mean it's strictly bad, though. I think it's really nice that it has a dodge roll anyway in the first place, because obviously, you know, there's going to be times where you'll be fighting suits that have multiple stun locks, or you'll be in situations where also, that person just got fucked, by the way. And you'll be in situations where somebody will be meleeing you. You can dodge roll out of that. You can get out of that combo situation, which is really great for support to do. Really great. But hey, mission completed. Let's see how we did in the second match here. Hey, top individual again, top assist, and top damage over 100k again. And hey, gonna praise the raid and praise a general, and we'll see how we did overall. First place, 6-2, and hey, another high score, this time an individual score. And yeah, back to what we were saying. Yeah, the resist move, it's still useful, I'd say, to at least be able to dodge roll out of combos. It still sucks that, like, if you're trying to use it to avoid damage, you're going to be taking damage anyway. So if you're using it at low health, just know that you're probably going to die anyway. But hey, you know, you can at least try to avoid further damage. At least have some kind of chance to come back. Like, let's say if you have your cannon out, your instant stun, right? You do a dodge roll. If somebody coming up to you to combo you like a unicorn, they do their typical unicorn stuff. You dodge roll, and then hey, you might have a chance to come back, get a stun, and do something else with that. So again, that to me, that's fairly nice to have. Even though you don't have iframes, I still think having that dodge roll, the resist move, is still pretty good. In fact, I wouldn't mind if this is the kind of dodge roll that supports would be getting. Now, not all supports, obviously, just a handful, especially at higher cost, right? And yeah, the last new skill here you have is full attack. Now, what this does is if you're using a psycommu weapon that can lock on, specifically here the pincer funnels and the discharge funnels, your non-psycommu weapons will actually do more damage, and you also gain more mobility yourself, but more so you'll gain more damage. And this can lead to insane damage output where, let's say if you're using your pincer, your pincers with those surround your target and fire at them. Now, if you're using your shotgun, you know, your beam shot rifle, you can get a good chunk of damage per shot. Like I said, if you're using if you're planning on overheating that weapon, you can get 3 shots of over 2,300 damage combined with the funnels. Now, the stun accumulation is still very awkward, but jeez, it can build up a ton of damage. I believe you saw that during the first match we had here. Really, really great. Really great. And of course, you know, if you're using that with a discharge, while they're getting blown away, you know, with the the discharge waiting to set up, you can already start initiating some really good damage combos against the person. Like, you know, you can use your scattering mega particle cannon, or try and get stun with your beam shot rifle fully charged, and then your discharge can come in to fire its Jirobi to essentially kill the person, you know, if they don't dodge roll or boost out of it, right? So that's honestly fairly nice skill here. It really helps with kind of rounding out just giving yourself a lot of damage output, which I guess will lead to the pros and cons. I'm going to go ahead and start with the cons. The stun accumulation on everything except for the mega particle cannon feels kind of low. There's been plenty of situations where I'll be using the pincer funnels with my beam shot rifle to try and get a stun accumulation when somebody's trying to rush me, right? And it just doesn't work, unfortunately. Now, like I said, the mega particle cannon is fine in this regard, and honestly, I feel like you probably shouldn't give this thing better stun accumulation in the first place, because with all the other good stuff the thing has, I think it would actually start teetering on the overpowered end of things, right? So I don't think it needs super great stun accumulation except for the mega particle cannon. Another downside for this suit is that it has it is a pretty big suit. It's one of the bigger suits. It's really easy to hit. It's really easy to get out of a match if the enemy team knows what they're doing. Again, it's still a support where raids are still going to be doing a lot of damage to it, especially, you know, the 700 raids. So it can be a non-issue, especially if the enemy team or if your team is not doing so swell. So you can get wiped out pretty fast. You're really easy to hit. All that good stuff, right? Another downside is the discharge funnel. I feel like it's a little bit too slow. I feel like either they buff up the time it takes to, or decrease the time it takes to get to somebody and activate, or at least make the ticks of damage closer together, so that way you get more damage output out of something before somebody boosts out of it. Like I said, the way the damage does, it goes like bam, bam, bam. It's not rapid, right? So you can potentially hit somebody once, and then they'll just move out of it like nothing else. Like, they'll get like 3,000 damage, and that'll be it, right? Which is still, you know, that's still 3,000 damage, but still, you're not sitting somebody down to do 17k. And obviously, I don't want the tick damage to come out as fast to be doing that kind of damage, like in a short time. But I do feel like it needs to be a little bit faster or something, or maybe even just make the Jirobi beam heavy stagger, or I don't know, something along those lines, right? But that does lead into the pros and cons another set of pros and cons. No, this will go into the pros now, where the funnels on this suit are pretty good when combined with the your full attack skill. That new skill is really great. Really helps the damage output here. The skills overall in the suit are really nice. The other new skill, the resist move, even though it's a dodge roll without iframes, still having the ability to dodge roll is really, really helpful for a support to have. Again, in situations where typically a support would just get bullied, you have a chance to perhaps come back out of that, or maybe not get caught in a situation where, let's say you're getting sniped at. If you dodge roll out of the way to get to safety before you get sunlocked, that can prevent situations where you can get followed up on. Like if you get sniped and then another shot hits you, and then another shot hits you, and then so forth, right? So even having that dodge roll, I feel like it's still pretty good to have. And again, if this is going to be what supports will be getting in place of a regular dodge roll, then honestly I can be fine with it, depending on either which support is getting it or future supports, right? I'm totally fine with that. The damage potential on the suit is also really high. That's another pro for this suit. As you saw, the first match was 182k. Obviously, there's better players out there that can get a ton more. If I can get that kind of damage, then yeah, I can believe other players, especially if they're coordinated, can do really well. Or at least set up situations where they can really, really lay down the hurt, especially at 700. Combine that with other 700 suits. Oh yeah, it can be very, very nasty, right? If you saw in that first match, in both matches, where if I'm combining with a teammate, yeah, really, really great role to have with this suit. Kind of that mid-range, close range. I say close range, but you do have weapons that can help support that, right? With I believe I kind of made that a priority. The weapons on the suit are pretty great. Actually, no, I just mentioned the funnels. The weapons on the suit are pretty good for damaging, and you do have the mega particle cannon and the pursuit funnels. And yeah, that'll about wrap it up for the FF Sazabi here. And I gotta say, pretty great support. Honestly, I would say probably the best 700 support right now. Now, do I think it's overpowered? I don't think it's overpowered, honestly, playing it. I still feel like there's moments where it can get bullied. I feel like there's some raids that don't really have much trouble fighting it. The Sinanju Stein is very much still a thing at this cost. I feel like that is still a problem for this suit, or at least it's a continuous problem for supports. And honestly, there's some other supports I feel like that just have more utility, like specifically the Kshatriya compared to this suit, where the Kshatriya has the heavy stagger, it can ready up and use. It does have the fuck off damage on it as well. It has a defense mode, and we combine with the shoulder binders to be incredibly tanky. I feel like the Kshatriya has a little bit more, and also the AoE funnels on it, I think just work a lot better. They work faster than the AoE, the Jirobi beam, the funnel on the discharge funnel on the Sazabi here. But overall, though, I think the Sazabi is a better support in other regards, like the damage and the having that dodge roll is again really helpful. But again, I don't think it's overpowered. Strong, I think it's really strong, but I don't think it's overpowered. And playing against other Sazabis so far, well, I should say FF Sazabis, right? I think it's. I haven't seen any that have really just been dominating the entire match, right? Yeah, again, I don't think it's overpowered. But it's certainly strong, though. Strongest 700 support, for sure. And yeah, that'll be in this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it. And, type up in the comment section how you feel about the FF Sazabi. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And yeah, I do like this suit. I can see myself playing it some more because it is pretty good at what it can do. Where it can, if you got your teammates that are doing really good at being teammates, you can get away with doing a ton of damage in these matches, or provide stuns, because you can do like 3 stuns in a row, 4 stuns maybe, depending on how you you can cycle through, just annoy generals and all that good stuff. Again, I feel like the suit is the best 700 suit, but I feel like I can still see myself playing other supports like the Kshatriya, because I feel like the Kshatriya just has a little bit more utility in some of its weaponry. But that doesn't mean it's bad compared to this suit, right? And yeah, that'll be it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.